Hello again everybody, it's Mel from Stocksbridge Guitar Tech, here with another lesson for you. This is an intermediate lesson today on intervals. Now we have narrow intervals and we have wide intervals, and in the introduction that I played there I was using wide intervals, but we'll have a look at both types and I'll explain the difference between them for you. So let's crack on, let's have a look at these intervals. First of all, if you don't know what an interval is or what I'm talking about, then go back and watch some of my earlier videos where I explain more about intervals. But basically, within a major scale, so for example a C major scale, we have intervals that correspond to these notes. So the first note would be 1, or the root. The second note would be some kind of 2. In this case it's a major second. Now in the major scale, which is all we're looking at today, they're all either major or perfect intervals. So we have a root, a major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth and a major seventh, and then the octave, which is the same as the root, just a higher pitch. So excuse me, if we wanted to play a major third interval, the interval is just the distance between the root of the scale and whatever degree we're playing. So a third interval would be the root and the third degree of the scale, or the third note of the scale, which in C is E, the third note. So we have C, which is the first note, D the second note, and E is the third note. So if we play the C and the E, we have a harmony that's a major third. Now this is a close harmony, or a narrow harmony, or a narrow interval if you like, because these notes are close together. But we could also, instead of playing this E, we could play the open top string, which is also an E. Or we could play that same note here on the second string, 5th fret. And now if we play that with that low C root, we get, sorry. So it's the same interval, it's still a major third, but it sounds much nicer, much more melodic. Now both can be useful, so what we're going to look at is going through this major scale, but we're going to go up the neck. Instead of playing, we're going to play but we're going to harmonize in thirds. So if you remember, again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch some of the earlier videos. But we have chords that go underneath each note of the scale. So we have major, minor, minor, major, major, minor and diminished. So under the 1 we have a major, under the 2 we have a minor, under the 3 minor, under the 4 major, under the 5 major, under the 6 minor, under the 7 diminished, and then we're back to the octave. But for these intervals we can think of this major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. We can think of that last diminished as just another minor. So when we're working in these thirds, we're going to go major third, minor third, minor third, major third, major third, minor third, minor third, and major third. So that's how we would harmonise that major scale using these thirds. So here we've got the fingers just 1 fret apart, and I'm using here the 5th and 4th strings, but we could drop this down to the 6th and 5th strings. Now we'd have a G but with a major third. We could do the same pattern. So that's a G major harmonised in thirds, or we could drop down to the D string here, and now we've got an F major third interval. So we can use any of the top 3 strings to make these harmonies with. So we have initially the index finger in the 2nd fret and the middle finger here in the 3rd fret on the 5th string. Index is on the 4th string. That's our first one. Then we slide the index up just 1 fret, but we have to go up 2 frets with the middle finger, so we swap to the ring. So we go from here to here, but we're only going from there to there with the index. Then we slide that same pattern up 2 frets again. And now this time we're going to slide the index up 2 to there, but we're only going to slide up 1 with this finger here, so we're going to swap this again for the middle. So far we've got then moving on, we're going to slide this same pattern up 2 frets again, and now like we did here where we slid this one up 2 and this one up 1, we're going to do the same from here. So we're going to slide this one up to here, but this one only 1 fret. So we go, and again I'm changing the middle finger for the ring finger. And then we're going to slide this same pattern up again 2 frets. And then finally, to get back to the octave from here, we're going to move this up just 1 fret, so swapping it for the middle finger again, and this one's going to move up 2 frets. So that's that entire scale in thirds. So learn that And then once you've got this down, you can experiment with different intervals. So that's thirds. We could use fourths. Now this is very easy because, again, staying in C major, the fourth is in the same fret but on the string below. This is the third, this is the fourth. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So a fourth we can play with just a single finger, barred across 2 strings, or we can use 2 fingers like this. And in fourths, because a fourth is a perfect fourth, it doesn't matter whether we're in a minor or a major, it doesn't matter. With a fourth it stays the same, so we just go. And that's playing through the C major scale, but with fourths added on top, as opposed to the thirds where we have to change the fingers around. Sorry. Where these really get interesting is when we start widening these intervals. So instead of playing that major third interval there, we'd play it here on the higher strings, and then we can do the same. So that would become, so here I've got the index is where it was before, but this sorry, the index is now on the root, 3rd fret of the 5th string, and then we can either use the ring finger or the pinky finger, whichever's more comfortable for you, in the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and we get this. And then we're going to move that index finger up 2 frets to the D, but we're only going to move this finger up 1 fret, because this is a minor chord, the 2nd chord, remember, which is where we're getting that interval from. So this is a major chord, so we've got, this is a minor chord, so we've got, then we have another minor chord, so we just slide that pattern up 2. Then we have a major chord again, so when we move this up to the F, we need to go up 2 frets for the major third. We have a major third again. Now we have a minor third. We have another minor third, which goes over the diminished chord, and then we're back to our octave. So that whole series again slowly. And as you can hear, they harmonise really nicely together, these wide intervals. So go away, have some fun with those. Other things you can do with these, if you put loads of a reverb on it with a long delay time, or an echo or a delay effect, they can sound really massive and epic, these. And you can do things like volume swells, where you fade them in there like I was doing in the introduction piece. So you can have some great fun with these intervals. They take a bit of time to get used to learning the patterns so that your fingers are dropping on the right notes, but anything that's worth doing takes time, doesn't it? So that's how we can use intervals to play harmonies. So there you go, folks, a quick little lesson there for you today on the harmonising in thirds. Like I said, once you've got the thirds down, experiment with other intervals. Try fourths, fifths, sixes are very good, and see what you can come up with them. It's amazing if you spend a little bit of time just exploring these intervals on the neck, what you can come up with, and you'll hear these used all over the place in music. So they're very, very useful. So go away, have a crack at those, and I hope you found this lesson useful. If you did, as ever, please do subscribe. Click the little bell notification so that you don't miss any future videos I make. But that's the lesson for today. I'm out of here. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.